We are live and welcome once again to yet another truly cannot miss super show. Today we'll present must know information on cutting edge developments and programs coming from the VA and more specifically our very own Lebanon Veterans Administration Medical Center. It's my first day with my new tongue, so I may be stumbling a little bit here and there, but bear with me. Um, these resources are yet another great step in caring for those who have borne the brunt of battle. We'll present the newly developed home based primary care resource with Ms. Kelly Ansbach. And let's see, I'm trying to unmute some mics here where I'm not getting any audio from our guests, even though they're here in the studio. I see them. Um, but we'll also be bringing information from Colonel Etter regarding the PACT Act and some new changes, some new things that are going on there, which is all phenomenal information and much needed to know. So we're rolling this out today, and I'm still working on the audio here. Not quite sure why I'm not getting audio, but welcome and good
Thank
morning,
Good
Colonel
morning.
Etter. Let me start with you. I'm still not getting audio. This is like incredible. I'm not
I
sure why not.
just muted and unmuted my mic to try it
I'll
again.
go in here and see what the problem might be. Bear with us, folks. We're just working on a little bit of an issue here, which is probably just the evil one trying to damage the show here, which he does from time to time. Uh, and I'm really not solving this audio issue. Um,
I'm unmuted on my end. Can you hear me?
Kelly, I see you talking,
I can
and yet
hear
I'm not
you.
hearing anything. I know my audio is transmitting, and I'm really kind of stumped here at the moment. Okay, let's just assume I'm the only one that can't hear anyone, and we're going to work with the fact that it is recording. And I see a few comments there that are mentioning that you're able to hear each other. So perhaps it's just me that needs to be quiet, right? Same old story, Sal. You talk too much. Um, but before we get into great detail of these new announcements, I have a few other ones that I definitely need to announce. A few very quick press releases, and one is for April, April 6th of this year, from 8 to 2 p.m., 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be a stand down, the annual stand down, which is hosted by the YWCA in Harrisburg. And Bill Reed is our great contact there and the person who originally began these some 12 years ago. So every year he puts together this great stand down with a lot of community resources. And it's April 6th at the farm show, the Harrisburg Farm Show. And it's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there's some contact information, which is fantastic. This offers the ability to become part of the event. If you wish to have a stand or a vendor or something to contribute towards veterans and our benefits, um, you can contact the YWCA Veterans Program at 717 236 or 7911. And that is also for connecting veterans with the event. If you know of someone who may not be aware that this is happening and you want to get them connected, you can also obviously reach out to the person or again through this contact information, or if you need to arrange transportation, that is also an option. So the great part of this is if we're having trouble getting to the farm show, there is information, transportation available. And you want to call the YWCA Veterans Programs at 717 236-7911 or via email. And you can reach out to either Bill Reed or Ashley McNeely. And Bill's address is WREAD Reed at ywcahbg.org, or Ashley McNeely, that's AMCNEELY, also at ywcahbg.org. Reach out to them. We have a couple of weeks until this event, this great event. There will be food obviously available. We'll be talking about health care, free personal care items are there to be given out. There'll be legal services, housing assistance benefits, and a job fair. So pretty much anything one might need will be able to be addressed there during the stand down, which again is April 6th from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the farm show. I also have a new release, which I don't believe we even got to speak about, Colonel Etter. And you had sent this to me, but I didn't get to take a look at it and address it with you or visit on it. But this is fantastic, and it's regarding the cemetery, the National Cemetery at Fort Indiantown Gap, and Department of Veterans Affairs. Indiantown Gap National Cemetery announced it is developing 27 additional acres to meet the growing needs of veterans and their families in South Central Pennsylvania. Actually, that's a double-edged sword there. As a result of war, we definitely have the need for the cemetery. The sad part is we have the need for a cemetery. But upon completion of construction of the project, it is projected that the veteran community will be provided with additional burial space lasting well into 2038. It's a 3-year project, and they're developing 27 acres for approximately 15,700 grave sites for caskets and cremated remains. So again, a sad reality of war is that we need to follow up with the final resting place. And it's an honor to the veteran and the family, and it's also a loss to the veteran's family and our country. So we appreciate this news, and I'm also saddened by it. And finally, we have something from Congressman Dan Muser's office, and each spring there's a National High School Award for Art. It's a competition. It's sponsored by the members of the U.S. House, and it's the Artistic Discovery Contest, and it recognizes our youth. And Congressman Muser is putting that out again and wanted to let everybody know you should only submit artwork if you don't need it for other purposes. It's not going to be returned, evidently. All high school students grades 9 to 12 in the 9th Congressional. I got to see another doctor. Can you recommend somebody at the VA, Colonel? I got to get this readjusted. Participants would need to submit your artwork to Congressman Muser's office prior to April 18th. And a participant reception will be held on April 25th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Walk-in Art Center located at 220 Parkway in Schuylkill Haven, Pennsylvania. You can reach us here at the studio by emailing me, sal@wmrcstudios.com, or feel free to give me a call at 717-743-8679. So we are now going to be visiting with my great friend, longtime friend, Colonel Doug Etter, who is not only the public relations director at the Lebanon VA. Colonel Etter also works and serves as a chaplain in the National Guard. And Colonel Etter and I have been friends for many years, And he's not aware. I don't think I've ever told him this, but he's actually responsible for the great launching that the show received and took off back in 2014. So, yeah, I never got to mention that, but yes, it's true. Um, Great friend, great, great soldier, great serviceman, great heart. And we appreciate everything you do. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce and invite Colonel Etter onto the show. And welcome, sir. I always ask you about your family's history of military service because I have yet to find that equaled. So I'll shut up now. Glad.
Okay, Sal, thank you. As always, it's great to be here with you and your listeners. It's great to be here with my friend and coworker, Kelly Ansbach. Kelly is the nurse manager of our home-based primary care, and it's a growing, expanding program, and we are excited to share her time with you as well. But as you say, yes, my family has a long military history. On my mother's side, they moved here in 1635 to what is now Silver Spring Township, and there's still 100 acres there of the McCormick farm across from Faulkner Subaru on the Carlisle Pike that I believe they purchased at that time. The farm was originally 500 acres. And so she draws her line to those McCormicks, to the Walkers, as well as the Hogues. So the little town there in Hogue Town. So I had five relatives fight in the Revolution, all of them Walkers and McCormicks. And it's just we've been a part of America's military force since the beginning. Um, let's see. I'm reading um, notes, your notes, Sal. So thank you. Um, yeah. So I joined the Army after being actually in Air Force ROTC. Found out I needed my glasses and didn't want to couldn't the Army didn't want me to fly helicopters then, or the Air Force didn't want me to fly jets then, so I thought maybe I could fly Army helicopters, but no, you had to have perfect vision there too. 20. So I went with being a chaplain because I am an ordained Presbyterian minister. So I've been working with veterans since I returned from my first tour in Iraq in 2006. I've done 2 tours of Iraq and retired from the military in 2019. And now I get to work with all the great folks at Lebanon VA and our 5 community clinics, reaching 9 different counties in South Central Pennsylvania. And we are always, day in and day out, placing the veterans at the center of everything we do, doing everything we can to take care of your brothers, Sal, your sisters, Sal, and mine as well. So you're
We
right.
have a huge family.
Yeah,
We have a huge family.
family. We represent 6% of America's population. People often will hear talking heads on TV say less than 1% of Americans are veterans. And like a lot of things in the media these days, that's not actually accurate. Um, the number is actually 6%. 6% of Americans are veterans. But when they say less than 1% of Americans are veterans, what they actually mean is that less than 1% of Americans are currently in the military. And that percentage may shock your listeners because it's so small, but the actual percentage of Americans currently, today, Saturday, March 23rd, 2024, in the United States military is 0.4%. Just
Wow.
4%. So that means that 99.6% of us are dependent on a very small and selfless line of men and women who are willing to put themselves between our enemies, between those who would do us harm, and our children. So we are very grateful to those men and women, and that's why the VA exists. George Washington said that the next generation to serve the country will do so proportionately to how they see the veterans of the past wars taken care of. And so we work very hard to take care of America's veterans. I will be happy to talk with you further about the PACT Act and some of the changes, particularly in Section 103. But I really want to be sure that you have the time to share with Kelly, because I'm excited about Kelly's program and the leadership that she's bringing there and what they're doing in the home-based primary care. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, my friend.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. And admittedly, I cannot possibly share my level of excitement when I became aware of this new program, which Kelly is about to roll out with us. Kelly, give us the information that's so much needed regarding this program, and thank you for your time for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to talk about home-based primary care, and it's not a new program. It's been at the Lebanon VA since 2003, but it is very underutilized and maybe even a little misunderstood. It is a program where we take primary care to the veterans in their home using an interdisciplinary team. So we have mid-level providers who are physician assistants or nurse practitioners. We have registered nurses, social workers, dietitians, rehab therapists. We have a chaplain. We have a psychologist. We have restorative nursing. And we also have pharmacists on the team. These are all people that go to the home to see the veteran. We focus on the veteran to provide that primary care. The basic criteria to be involved in the program is to have complex medical needs, which a lot of our veterans have. You do not have to be homebound. And like Doug was saying, we cover such a large area. And we remotely work, so we have a large team to cover those veterans. So we are expanding. We currently have 392 veterans enrolled with the capacity to go up to 525.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm not sure if I should take this as like a huge opening for the need of what I do in getting information out to our veterans, but I have to say, if this, did you say this has been in existence since 2003 or 13?
2003.
That's even worse. How can this be such a well kept secret for so long? Um, that's,
Well, it's also a
yeah,
national program. So it's not just here at Lebanon, it's a national
national
VA
secret.
program. Mhm.
That's very much a
I think
national secret.
I think
Um,
we're working very hard to get the information out to those who truly need it.
yeah. Well,
So
yeah,
I think
I'm
that's what's
definitely on board
improving.
with you. I'm definitely on board with you. Um, and it definitely was only mentioned that the media is not getting as close to the VA as we could be, obviously. So that's an error that I'll take on my plate, and so I'm going to definitely work a lot harder to dig and spend more time with you folks at the VA so I can bring out information much sooner. Um, you had mentioned, I'm sorry, how many veterans we currently have? And are we talking just like in Pennsylvania right now or Lebanon County or
Well, this would just be in our program in Lebanon. We have
okay.
392 veterans enrolled.
Okay. And how does one go about enrolling in this program? How would we start that process?
Well, you could talk to your current PAC provider. They could put in a consult for home-based primary care. The consult comes to me, I review it, I make sure you meet the criteria, and then I personally reach out to the veteran to talk about the program so that they understand it. And then we get a nurse out to the home to start the process.
Wow, it sounds pretty painless, huh?
It is very painless.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Well,
really
what
great.
community, Sal? I mean, what other places have a doctor and a nurse and a chaplain? And I think, do you sometimes also even do physical therapy? Or Kelly?
We do. We have rehab therapists, both occupational and physical therapy, that go out to the home and do an environmental assessment, make sure they have the safety equipment they need. And they also could do skilled therapy if the veteran would need it in the home as well. And then as a caveat, we also have restorative nursing that can go to the home to do a home exercise program. Because obviously we want the veteran to age in place in their home.
Mm.
And don't
That-
all of us want to really be in our homes. We don't want to have to go to extended care facilities, skilled nursing facilities. Sometimes that is medically necessary, but Kelly and her team can keep veterans in their home so much longer. And with those familiar surroundings, with the family always present, it is a wonderful program. You're right, Sal. We have not done a good job promoting that. But that ended the day that Kelly took over our program at Lebanon, because I think I might have been, and Kelly, you tell me if I'm wrong, one of the first people she came to see and said, how can we get word out? How can we share with the men and women that have defended our country and our national interests that this program is available to them? She's very dedicated. She's there nearly every day, unless we have someone else there. But she's there nearly every day in our Building 17 lobby, which is the principal outpatient building, to tell people about home-based primary care, to let them know that it's available. I think one of the myths that I hear, at least among veterans, as they're talking about it, is that they think you must be homebound, that we require that. And that is not correct, right, Kelly?
That is very untrue. You do not have to be homebound. You only have to have complex medical needs that would benefit from our interdisciplinary team. That's it.
Now, when
So,
we say, I'm sorry, when we say complex medical needs, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, what exactly are we talking about, Callie?
Well, some examples would be, if you have heart failure, diabetes, respiratory problems. If you're, God bless you, if you're, 80 and healthy and you only take an aspirin, you probably wouldn't benefit from my team. But for the most part, as we advance in our age, we end up having complex medical needs. So for the most part, 99.9% of that population meet the criteria.
Just a quick question here. When we talk about heart failure, uh, I'm not medically savvy, so to me it's kind of like this mystery. I would think if my heart fails, I'm dead, um, but I might not be correct there.
So there's many forms of heart failure, and it could just be that your heart isn't working effectively, which could cause some shortness of breath. It could cause you to have some swelling in different parts of your body, which impacts your everyday normal living, which
Okay,
would cause you to need to see a cardiologist, to take additional medications, which would mean that you have complex medical needs.
got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not very medically savvy because I can ask these questions and I can look like the clueless one here, so my listeners and viewers don't, can benefit by the answers. This is great.
well, here's a perfect example, Sal, that I haven't even had a chance to discuss with Kelly because it happened at the end of the workday yesterday, Friday. I was in Adams County all day. Lebanon, our health system is looking at building a VA community clinic somewhere in Adams County. As a part of a task force, one of the people on that task force who actually works for another healthcare system pulled me aside after the meeting and asked to talk. She said, my dad is a Vietnam veteran. He has diabetes. He has high blood pressure. He has cancer. There's something wrong with his skin. When we touch his skin, it will tear and he will start to bleed. He doesn't want to leave the house. He can, but he doesn't want to leave the house. He doesn't want people seeing him as bad as he is. Do you think there's anything Lebanon can do? And I told her, well, we have something called the home-based primary care. And if you send me an email with your dad's name and his last four of his social security, because he is already getting care at Lebanon, I will forward him to Kelly Ansbach, and she will review it and let you know whether or not your dad is a candidate. I'm pretty sure in my own mind, he's a good candidate for Kelly's program.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, be expecting to hear from me right away.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited about the Adams County because that will expand home-based primary care even further. Because right now we do 40 miles from your local VA facility, which will enable us to help that many more veterans. So we are so excited by that.
Are there plans to obviously expand the staff that you have to grow with the need? Um, the VA is amazingly wonderful and caring, and it's so easy to take for granted the convenience. I mean, we can go to the VA for basically anything. Um, and in the civilian world, that's not always the case. A lot of things can become problematic. But with anything, there's always like a shortage, I would have to say, of medical personnel. And that's simply due to the needs, the crazy needs. Um, and are you recruiting? Is there, how can I help to let folks know, hey, you know, this program's expanding, and here's how, as a medical person, you may want to inquire and see about getting involved.
Well, right. We are always recruiting those direct hands-on caregivers, whether they are physicians, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, licensed practical nurses, certified nursing assistants. As you say, we offer a whole array of things. So dentists, hygienists, the whole variety of specialty care, whether it's neurologists or an epidemiologist or what have you. We are always in the market for those types of folks. I think Kelly's team right now is very strong. Are you recruiting in any particular area, Kelly?
We aren't. We recently just went from 4-pack teams up to 6-pack teams. So we just finished all our recruitment for now, which is why I've been so heavily educating, which I will continue to educate because I think it's good for everybody to know what the program is and how it can benefit the veteran and their family. So right now we're pretty set on what we have, but if the need continues to grow, we'll see where we go.
No,
So,
Kelly,
sorry, we're good with that. Kelly's team's good with that, but we will take any and all references, referrals that you give to us, gladly so. There's a lot of positive things for folks that when they work for the federal government. Our benefits are a very strong package. It's pretty hard to beat the benefits package. In all honesty, there are times when people are paid more on the outside. But the flip side of that is, for example, our nurses. We have nursing ratios that are at the highest, and hear me, this is at the highest, are 4-to-1. That isn't found anywhere in the civilian sector. We have obviously 3-to-1 and 2-to-1 and one-on-ones, but the largest ratio of patients to nurses that we have is 4-to-1. So that's very attractive to a nursing staff. When you have leaders like Kelly who are enthusiastic and passionate and want to make a difference, and yet level-headed, kind, and considerate, compassionate. It's a wonderful place to work. I love working at Lebanon. I can't imagine working anywhere else.
you'd mentioned the 4-to-1 ratio, and that is super. That is like wow. Um, and my understanding is that translates to nurses that are much more available, much faster care. Am I am I on the right track here?
Yes, you are. You are absolutely on the right track. And it means that they also have time to, the word I'll use is linger. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but time to sit there and talk with the veteran, to get to know them. Um, because we're not profit driven, and places that are profit driven have to push, they make more money by the more people they push through their
Mhm.
system, but that's not the case at VA. What's important at VA is for us to get to know you, to get you the right care at the right time by the right people.
I would have to say that is definitely the case. Every time I'm at the VA for any reason, it's always a very thorough visit. It's never a hurry up so we can get to the next patient or next client. It's
Mhm.
really a unique experience when compared to the civilian world. Um,
Yeah,
so you're absolutely right.
93% of our veterans say that they completely trust us. That type of trust score is not given, particularly by veterans, it's earned. And
Mm.
we're very enthusiastic. We're very proud of that statistic. While we will send veterans to care in the community, if there's something, for example, that we don't do, most of our veterans, if given the choice between care in the community and receiving care at VA, always choose getting their care at the VA.
That's I really can't say enough good about that. I've traveled around. I've been to Audie Murphy in San Antonio and down to South Carolina and some other places. And initially, my expectation was I was going to find another Lebanon VA situation. When I got there, and everyone's doing the best that they can. Obviously, the credit to the Lebanon VA is it's not being matched. You know,
Well,
it's
and you've shared with your audience before. Last year was the third year in the row that we received the Best Patient Care Experience Award within VA for level two facilities. So there are 170 VA medical centers across the country. And when you're named number one 3 years in a row, you must be doing something right. And it's not something that just happens. You have to work at it each and every day. And that's what we do. We want to earn those veterans. We want to earn their trust. And we want to deliver on promises. We want to exceed their expectations and those of their family so that giving them everything the nation promised them when when they raised their right hand and took that oath of enlistment.
definitely definitely very obvious um, that the work is being put in to earn the trust and the loyalty, which is huge. It's easy to take for granted the things that are coming out of the VA and the services that are provided. Um, but I really want to let our folks know that the work is being put in. Just exactly as Colonel Etter is describing. Um, Everything he's talking about is very evident. So thank you for everything you're doing, Kelly. What is the next step do you feel for the program, the home-based primary care?
Um, we're just going to keep on our path. We're providing internal and external education on what the program is and who would benefit from it. I'm also going out in the community and providing education. So we're heavily recruiting to make sure we're getting to the veteran. And then we're just going to continue to provide excellent care.
I really like what you just said about the education and being able to reach out and let folks know. Um, it takes the mystery out of what is it, and gives us, the opening to say, hey, wait a second, that might work for me, or it might work for my father, it might work for my uncle. So I think that is great. I don't know of many other programs that are actually doing that. A conscientious outreach, that is being done. If I can help, I will be glad to. Perhaps I get around often to do press conferences and public speaking, and I think this would be a great opportunity to add to some of those conferences to be able to let folks know. So if you're available, I mean, obviously we'll talk after the show at some point, but I'd be glad to include what you're doing as a way of helping to let folks know.
Yeah. Thanks, Sal. One of the things that we all learned during the pandemic, that long, difficult time when not only VA, but other healthcare systems started utilizing what we call telehealth programs much more, so that you can talk to your provider in the convenience of your home, on your iPad, on your computer, on your phone, and have a private conversation about your health. And we've learned that folks like that. But think how much even better that is when, instead of talking to the doctor or the nurse on your iPad, they're sitting across the table from you, and you're looking into their eyes, they're looking into your eyes, and you can really, how much better that is. And that's what Kelly and her team are bringing to the veterans of South Central Pennsylvania.
This program makes a huge statement, and listening to you just now, um, kind of like lit that up, put the focus on it. It says we care. We care. We will come to you. We will sit across from your table, next to you on your sofa, whatever the case may be. But we will come to you because we care. That is so huge, so huge.
Yeah. And we
That's
personalize it in our values. Our values spell out the phrase or the sentence, I care. Because we all have to take accountability. We all have to take ownership of the care that VA provides. I tell our medical support assistants, the people that are checking veterans in and out, that they're the directors of first impression. They're the people that make the first impression with the veteran, and they need to get it right, and they need to get it right each and every time. But Kelly and her team are coming in there to the veteran's home to make sure that that veteran is achieving the level of health that they're doing what they want to for their health. So thank you, Kelly. Thank you, sister, for what you're doing.
And also ambassador.
Yes.
You and your team are ambassadors for the VA, and it's great. It's great. We couldn't find a better example. You're wonderful as a leader, and the program that you're doing is great. I mean, there's a lot of resentment about the pandemic and the shutdowns, and there's a lot of negative um, back backblast blowback is what I'm trying to find, and memories. And one thing that I discovered was the positive in that it elevated everything to being able to reach even further, wider, by doing it electronically. So while it shut everything down physically, it actually, gave the opportunity for folks to do like we're doing now. Instead of having to go to a studio, we can sit and remotely visit, and it carries that across all industries, all walks of life, all opportunities, and actually became an enhancement, I believe. And as you mentioned, the telehealth was just like a great byproduct, as well as now with this program, Kelly, being able to go out and visit in the home is, maybe there's some definite positive that came out of the pandemic somehow. But the Lebanon VA is definitely cutting edge on everything. And I've said that from the very first time we got to visit Colonel Etter. The information that you provided and the things that were going on were definitely cutting edge, and it's been maintaining that level ever since. I'm really honored to be able to visit with you so often.
Thank you, Sal. I value your military service in the Army. I value your friendship, and I value what you do now in terms of sharing the information, pushing the information out. Because when Kelly says she's educating people, she doesn't mean that she's teaching them how to add 1+1 = 2. She means she's telling them about our program so that it's not a secret, so that more people are sharing it. Because if we can multiply her efforts, if the first 5 people she talks to tell one other person, now 10 people know. And if those 10 people tell another person, then we've got 20 people. And so your show helping us talk about home-based primary care is going to hopefully help her program and grow through your catchment area where your listeners are located.
That would be wonderful. In fact, I'll just take this opportunity to mention that the each of our shows is uploaded to YouTube. It's carried live in real time on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, which is now X, and Instagram. You can also visit the recorded show when it's uploaded to YouTube at any time. And that is at, of course, youtube.com/at Sal Santori 2880. And what I'm finding is a lot of folks are are going onto YouTube to visit our shows, and they're coming from everywhere. So it may be a great catalyst to you may be getting some phone calls from Denver, Colorado, Doug and Kelly. Can you come out here and help us set up this program?
We're happy to talk to anybody from anywhere because we are the nation's largest healthcare system. And we're proud of that, and we're proud of the work that we do. A lot of people don't realize 70% of the physicians who practice in the United States are trained at VA hospitals. We are the ones that invented internally planted defibrillators, internally planted pacemakers. We're the ones that invented the nicotine patch. We're the ones that invented using baby aspirin when somebody has a cardiac issue. VA nationally has not done a good job telling their story. And we, Lebanon, at least locally, want to do as good a job as possible telling our story. And that's why leaders like Kelly can take their day off and come on your show and talk about the that are
Thank you.
veterans. So thank you for the invitation, Sal.
Wow. I'll tell you, um, that's I can't say enough, Kelly. Obviously, your job, your passion keeps you way busier than the average person could keep up with. Um, and for you to spend an hour here with us on the show on your day off, as Colonel Leonard just mentioned, is huge. So thank you very, very much.
Well, I thank you for inviting me. I'm a former military spouse, so I have a deep respect and love for the veteran and their family.
And it shows. It shows.
Yeah.
Thank you. Listening to you just describe the efforts of the VA and working so hard to do what the VA does, and then some. As you mentioned, originating so many various things like the internal defibrillator, things along that line. It puts the burden more on me, which I'm grateful And I'm acknowledging it, I guess, is what I'm doing at this point. The burden is mine to come and visit with you and say, hey, you're working, doing your thing. What can I find out to let our brothers and sisters know? I don't think the burden is so much on the VA to let me know. I think I need to turn that around, and I need to bother you more, and come and say, hey, what can I take to let our folks know? Um, and that's a beautiful perspective. It enables the VA and folks like both of you to do what you do to benefit our brothers and sisters. And then it's incumbent on me to say, hey, okay, here's my part. I need to find out what you're doing so I can let folks know. I think that was the perfect transition to be able to really say, okay, let's get this secret made no longer a secret. It's
Yep.
my job.
You're welcome, Sal. We welcome you with open arms at Lebanon or our community clinics. I think since the last time you and I spoke, we dedicated a brand new primary care building. So, primary care, that regular doctor's visit that you get with your healthcare provider, will take place in a brand new, beautiful space for our veterans who are coming to the main medical center. Now, of course, a lot of our veterans go to those 5 VA community clinics, but those who are coming to the main campus for their primary care have a beautiful new space that we dedicated just back in January. And then in February, we dedicated another new space. We have a lot of construction going on, as you always know. And this new space is we call our core center. It's where our recreation therapy team works. That has really grown a lot this past year, I would say 3 or 4 years actually. And as a result of that, they needed new space. And so they got this new space. And they have such a variety of programs, from the Seeing Lens program to various art programs to various exercise programs and the bicycles. We even have bicycles that veterans who are in wheelchairs, the bicycle will that has a platform on the front of it. The veteran on the wheelchair can go on that, and then someone else from rec therapy, or if a family member wants to do it, can push them around while they're riding the bike, and they have the thrill of being on a bicycle even as they sit in a wheelchair. So we've got those 2 dedications that we've just completed. We're looking forward to a new med surge space that should be completed here in the next few months, and we'll have another dedication and building opening for that. But 2 things that I did want to tell your listeners before the time concluded. I want all of the families that have World War II veterans who are a part of the family, all of those World War II veterans are still with us, and we're losing them at a high rate, which is, of course, very unfortunate because we have so much respect and affection for the greatest generation. But they can now get their care at VA. They can enroll in VA without any penalty, or if they haven't enrolled prior to this time, because the war for them was so long ago, and maybe they want to leave it for other people, or maybe they say they weren't injured in the war, or whatever, they didn't serve overseas. It doesn't matter. VA will accept the enrollment applications of any World War II veterans. The doors are wide open. So please make sure that your audience knows those doors are wide open to any and all remaining World War II veterans. The other thing that I want to share with you is changes to Section 103 and what is called the PACT Act. And so that was a law that was signed into effect a couple of years ago. And essentially, the changes in 103 have accelerated a timeline that veterans who have had toxic exposures, if they have had toxic exposures to dust, to munitions, to oil wells, to burn pits, all of those folks, people that have deployed to in OEF, Operation Enduring Freedom, OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation New Dawn, Operation Just, all of these folks can now enroll at VA. And so we are anticipating a lot of a surge in enrollment applications here because of how much this door has been thrown over. And this is a huge deal for all my brothers and sisters. Why so? Well, for example, the law used to read that you could only apply for VA benefits within the first 5 years of returning from a deployment. That is, those recent members of the Global War on Terror, the GWAT, as we call it. Then the government extended it to 10 years. Well, as you know, that war started in 2001, and it is now 2024. So we are long beyond 10 years for many of those warriors. But now this change, this acceleration, opens the door to all those veterans of the current wars. So we would encourage them to get their DD 214 and to come to the VA to work with our enrollment specialists in order to get enrolled into VA healthcare. And once you have VA healthcare, once you're approved for VA healthcare, you don't lose that approval. It's always good. So we're very excited about this, and thank you for the opportunity of sharing that information, Sal.
Thank you for coming on and bringing that. Our World War II veterans, you had mentioned just bringing the DD 214 to the VA, and probably that answers this question, but is that the only thing that a World War II veteran would need to bring?
Well, the World War II veterans actually have just a discharge paper. Their discharge are not even called 214s. That was after their time in the service. So if they bring their discharge papers, that is, yes, all we need.
I'm getting a few viewers laughing right now that I asked that question because they're World War II vets and they're saying DD 214. Ha ha.
Yes, exactly, because they know that it wasn't called a DD 214 at that time.
Right? Yeah. They're calling me this young kid again. This has been a great show. We still have time, and I'd like to let our folks know some information as far as your service as a chaplain with the National Guard, if you don't mind.
Well, like all chaplains, we provide religious services, we provide counseling, we provide confidential time with soldiers. And it's not just soldiers. For me, for example, on my first deployment in Iraq, we were under our higher con, as we call it, our high con, the higher headquarters was the Marine Corps. So I worked with Marines, I worked with soldiers, and then my base also had 2 Navy SEAL teams and a Navy Seabees detachment. And so I got the opportunity to work with all of them. And we would provide religious services. And then if there were services that I was not able to provide, we would bring in providers who could do that service. So, for example, we would bring in Jewish chaplains for the Jewish personnel on our base. We had LDS, Latter-day Saints, or as some people know them, Mormons, on our base. We had Wiccans on our base. And so those folks all have the opportunity and the freedom. They are guaranteed that freedom in the First Amendment. And that's one of the primary responsibilities of chaplains, is ensuring that everyone can worship in their own way, in the way that they choose. And so we would do that, of course. Talking with soldiers when they were upset, if there was an issue at home, if a friend had been killed or wounded. I was a very busy guy for 18 months. Our deployment was 18 months. That's a long time to be away from home. But it was very gratifying, very satisfying. And I was honored to be there and to do that with them.
Here is something that I want to share with you as well as our viewers. This is great as far as the supporting our troops, active duty, and family members, and the board of directors at the South Mountain YMCA, which is located. It's in Lancaster County. It's on a mountaintop, 600 some odd acres. Beautiful. They invited me out to visit with them. The address is 201 Cushion Peak Road in Lancaster, or I'm sorry, in Reinholds, which again is Lancaster County. They announced the immediate availability of funding via a grant donation to ensure life-changing experiences that their camp has to offer for military youth and family members. This camp can be a day camp where they can spend a day, an overnight, a weekend, or even a week-long experience. And what they have is they have family cabins for folks that say, we're not so sure about this. We're kind of like a little nervous to let our child or grandchild visit independently. So they have family cabins to enable the parent or grandparent to come along. They're available. They also have accommodations ranging from rustic to ultra modern with built-in closets and storage, a restaurant grade kitchen with stainless steel appliances and prep tables. Excuse me. Huge dining areas, both indoors and out, hiking trails, second to none swimming pool, soccer fields, baseball diamond, various arts, crafts, and projects sitting again on 600 acres atop this mountain. All their staff, one of the requirements is they have been through at least one camp stay to be able to really acclimate to what's going on. And it's a great program. The thing that is amazing is they are offering this to military families and children free. There's no cost to our family to go there. So we want to let everyone know, hey, this is an opportunity throughout the summer to be able to go visit at the camp, spend some time there, enjoy, have some life-changing experiences at no cost. They take that burden away. So contact us here at the show. I'm going to pull up their contact information. And Michael Berger is the Director of Development and Alumni Relations. His email is mberger@smymca.org. And their phone number is 610-670-2267. Again, you can always reach out to me here at the studio, Sal at WMRC Studios, for this information or any. And I'll be glad to provide it to you. Another thing that I wanted to mention, since we're talking about the VA being willing to help folks globally if needed, which they're obviously doing. But I want to welcome some new friends from London, England. We have a new friend by the name of Julie and her friends over across the pond. And I just want to say hi and welcome to the family. And I'm glad to hear from you. It's a beautiful thing. Colonel Etter, I can never thank you enough for coming on the show.
Thank you, Sal.
And
Our honor.
oh yeah, and Kelly Ansbach, thank you so very much. And I'm very honored to have gotten to meet with you and speak with you and learn about this program and be able to share it with our viewers. And I'm sure we'll be visiting far more often. Like I say, I'm going to take the bull by the horns. I'm going to be the point man on this, and I'll come to you for information. So
Okay.
thank you. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome. You're very welcome. And as always, we can't close. Yeah. I'm glad I'm able to laugh at me because probably everyone else is also. I want to close the program by reminding everyone to please find someone to help. Have a great day. For Colonel Etter, Ms. Kelly Ansbach, and myself, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Kelly.